What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Mindset. Cal is going to be in this one because he's leaving for Florida, and what we're going to talk about today is legacy. What kind of legacy you're going to leave, what kind of mark you're going to leave on the world, and what kind of name you're going to make for yourself. You could be doing big things. You could be really successful. You could become a really talented musician, an artist. You could become a pro athlete. You could be a professional cinematographer and videographer and work for big professional filmmakers. You could be successful in the doctor role. You could be a highly recognized surgeon. You could become a writer and have best-selling novels. The point is having a legacy and what you do with that now. Your legacy for your future is your big picture. What you want to leave, what kind of impact and influence you want to leave on people. What kind of person do you want to be seen and remembered as? You see a lot of times, we're going to talk about the movies a little bit because we do cinematography and videography, things like that. You see a lot of times in the movies, when people are about to die, they talk about leaving their legacy. What kind of legacy are you going to leave? You know, if somebody's about to go sacrifice themselves for something, they're leaving a legacy that they were a hero, that they were willing to die for others. When people are about to give up on their dreams in the movies, they're talking about, what about your legacy? What are you just going to leave all that behind? Are you going to give up on everything you've worked so hard for?
Or breaking away from other people's legacy to become your own person too. Like people who don't want to follow in their father's footsteps often. That's, you know, the hero's journey, so to speak.
Yeah, you write your own story.
Absolutely.
You know, and with that being said, that's a really good metaphor, is your life is a book. Different seasons of your life or different chapters are written. Some chapters end, the page turns to start a new chapter. Sometimes you leave those characters behind. Sometimes they're never brought up again. Sometimes they come to return.
Yeah.
And a good example, and why Cal is in this one, and we're talking about this specific topic, is because in 2 days, well, actually, he's moving to Florida today when this video comes out. Dragonfly went right in front of the lens. He's going down there to better his own life, to take hold of some opportunities, to make some changes, and really to start his next chapter of his life and to start writing his own legacy. And we're not going to specifically talk about our goals, our legacy, his legacy. We're not going to talk about the day. We're talking about what you can do to write your legacy, what you can do now. But your legacy is not now. It is never going to be in your now while you're living. Your legacy is what you leave for other people.
And legacy can also be defined as your story. You know, a legacy is a story that is a collection of stories, or it could be one anecdote that someone shares about you. When we give eulogies, usually that's centered around that person's legacy as well. Your legacy is basically your story, how people are going to remember you. And it's going to be how and what those people use as your story. If your legacy is your story, essentially you're writing it every day. That you, as he said, if it's a book, the book is the big picture. It is a collection of everything. But we forget that each chapter has its million little moments that accumulates to that story. So while somebody might just be there for a chapter, you have a story that is happening right at that specific moment. But then you look at the big picture, you really see a scope of who you are.
You see the entire climax of all the plot points that led up to it, all the positives, all the negative, all the characters, all the journeys and adventures and memories that were made, everything that led up, all the little details, the little fine details that led up to that final moment, the climax of the story, the plot, when they reach the plot. And there's a change of event, and the big picture is shown. That is what your life is like up until the end.
Absolutely.
When your book closes, that is your legacy. And to say it again, your legacy is never right now. It is your future. It is the final masterpiece, and once it's done, it is what it's written.
You're always a work in progress. You're a painting. Like you're consistently going through this over and over again. In the case of storytelling, that this is not the final draft. This is not submitted to the publishers, that you are constantly rewriting and writing all the time. So
because your future is not written, right?
No.
It's to be written by you.
You're living through your experiences. So you have to experience it. You can't live with the intent of experience. You have to live through the experience, which means it doesn't matter if it's happiness, humility, or hardships, that you have to walk through this, or it is the end. It's either keep going or be done.
When he's talking about that, when you make choices, and when he says being done, he's not talking about your life. He's talking about the situations that come up in your life and those hardships and what you're facing. You're asking yourself what you're grateful for. You're asking yourself all the pros and cons. You're strengthening your mindset to move forward. So when you go through all of these obstacles, both positive and negative, ask yourself this question. What kind of legacy am I leaving? What kind of mark am I leaving on people? Are you treating other people with kindness? Using your empathy to understand how people are feeling and make your choices based on that? Are you self-aware to know who you are and how to handle those situations so they come out in a positive way? Are you remembering those broken foundations and learning how to move forward from them? Are you in the pursuit of happiness? Because to change your life and to leave a positive legacy, to leave a positive impact on people, you need to be in the pursuit of happiness at all times. Whether it's your own happiness or the people around you that support you, trying to help them achieve their happiness and pushing them to move forward and be better and to grow, that is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate legacy that you need to leave, is to be happy and that it's possible to reach that happiness. Cal has been through all of this mindset series. He's watched every single one. We have talked about all these things. Everything that we talk about on these videos, whether he's in them or I'm in them, my friend Ian has been in one, we all discuss these different topics about regretting fear and encouraging each other and growing each other. That's why we did the episode on episode 10 last season of Iron Sharpens Iron, because Cal has really been my iron as I have been his. You know, the problems that I deal with, he feels for those as if he's dealing with them. And when he's dealing with problems, I feel for them as if I'm dealing with them. And we lift each other up, we encourage each other, and we push each other forward. We give each other advice, whether we not want to hear it or not. You know, we give each other a push in the right direction, whether we want it or not. And we try to just make each other's lives better. And we try to leave an impact on other people so that when one day that we're not here anymore, we're going to leave an impact and a legacy that we're going to remember each other by. You know, he's going to Florida, and we're both going to take everything that we've went through together and everything that we've achieved and everything that we've struggled with and all of those experiences and memories and all the things that we've talked about, and we're both going to take from that, and we're still going to live our lives trying to leave a legacy for the other people that are around us, for those other people in the community, whether we know each other personally or not, whether it's our family and friends. We are striving for all those things that we have talked about and we have learned together in the last 2 years to make an impact not only on each other still, but with our friends and families, in our communities, and somehow, in some way, make an impact on the world and leave a legacy. Because when we die, that is the end of our story. You can carry on somebody's legacy, and what that means is carry on the memory of somebody, something that somebody else did while they were alive. You carry that with you. But when you die, your legacy has been written. There's nothing else that can be changed from that. Your book can't be rewritten. It is finalized. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, what kind of legacy did I leave today? What kind of impact did I make on people? And what can I do tomorrow to leave an even greater impact? What can I do tomorrow to strive towards my legacy even more? Before we wrap it up, I want Cal to say some final words. I know he hasn't said much, but I want him to be able to say some more things in this episode.
I'm just going to close out by reiterating everything, bringing it together. Your legacy is your story. What story are you trying to tell? Because it doesn't matter if you're a bank teller, if you're working stock in a grocery store, if you're a Fortune 500 CEO, if you're a professional cinematographer or a professional actor. Everyone has their own story to tell. And it's through these experiences that we have, our trials, our errors, our successes, that we share with each other so that we can eventually grow, not only as ourselves, but to help others and encourage them to grow. And having courage and kindness in your story as your main thematic elements ultimately is going to leave you with a much more pleasant legacy. You know, there are some people who have legacies that are kind of tarnished. They're kind of filled with grit and grime. I want my story to be one that I can share with my children, I can share with my family, or my family shares of myself, that tells of all the trials and tribulations, that no matter what, we didn't give up, that we pressed on, that there is stuff in this world worth living for, to enjoy, to embrace, and to honestly, just what I do with Cody's channel, what I do with a lot of channels, and what I feel that people do with everything in general, is that we're all just experiencing each other's stories, legacies in the making.
So again, ask yourself, what is the legacy you're trying to leave? What is the picture that you're trying to portray? What is the story that you are trying to write for other people to see and to remember you by? And with that, guys, just remember, no matter what the world has to say, tomorrow is a brand new day. The choice is yours to go out and be more. Peace.